All right, welcome to How To Videos Unlimited. Today I'm going to talk about understanding the in-person car dealer auctions. So I frequently get comments of either people that are interested in getting their car dealer's license or currently in the process of getting their car dealer's license. So I thought it would be a good idea to actually break down the players on the auction side and exactly what their roles is. Um, Seriously, I'm not going to lie. The first time that you go to your in-person car auction and you bid on that very first car, you're literally going to feel like you're going to have to lift your hand up. Your arm is going to feel like you're carrying a 5,000-pound weight because you're going to be so nervous about making your first bid. And so this video, I'm hoping to kind of alleviate some of those anxiety or fears, because worst thing that's going to happen is, hey, maybe you lose a little bit. And I guarantee you at one point or another, and most likely in your first couple bids, you're going to lose some money, but it's all a learning experience, because if we did everything correctly, you're never going to learn and grow from that. So this video is to kind of help alleviate some of those fears or anxieties, so that way you can go into a car dealer auction and have a little bit more understanding, because there's no guide, Mannheim or Odessa or Copart. There's not actually a guide that's going to literally walk you through step by step. All the employees are busy at work. They don't have time to, handhold or, babysit you. So this video is to basically break down exactly who the players are and how the in-person car auction is going to run down the first time that you go. So first I'm going to cover the different players, and then I'm going to show you an actual live video of an auction at Mannheim, and then I'm going to break down the actual players and what their roles are. So first, let's talk about understanding lane activities. So there's a lot of different mini elements that converge in the lanes of an auction, where the vehicles are auctioned from the block one at a time. So there's so many moving parts, and that's why I wanted to put this video out, is to kind of, show you exactly A to Z, when you bid, who's going to be, the auctioneer, the ringman, all that. So that's what we're going to talk about. So the first player that the first thing is the block area. So each lane, and depending on what auction you go to, like I typically prefer Mannheim, and on Wednesdays, like Mannheim, Southern California, they're going to have, or actually Mannheim, California, I know on Wednesdays they have their big auction, and they might have, 15, 16 different lanes going at one time. And so each lane is going to have, obviously they're the seller. So the block area is the elevated area where the seller, the auctioneer, and some auction administrative staff conduct the sale. The auctioneer and the block clerk are on the block throughout each sale. As a seller car enters the lanes, that seller may also be on the block to represent the car to the bidder. So that's the block area. And like I said, as soon as we go through this PowerPoint, it's just a few slides, then I'm going to actually pull in the live video and we'll look at each of the areas. So that's the block area. So it's the elevated area where the different, the administrative staff, the auctioneer, sometimes the seller, and the block clerk, they're all going to be sitting up there. So block area. So the auctioneer, that's the guy that, the guy that's talking super fast. That's the auctioneer. So the auctioneer's role is to provide detailed information about the respective vehicle for sale. They're going to make appropriate announcements. So, it's very important to definitely look at yellow lights. That's where you'll see announcements about the vehicle. They're going to discuss with the seller the price, expectations, and calls for bidders from the lane. The auctioneer manages the bidding process and assures that interested buyers are acknowledged in the bidding. Once there are no more additional bidders on a vehicle, the auctioneer will complete the sale or discuss alternatives with the seller if the car did not meet the seller's minimum price, also known as a floor price. And all of this is done in about 60 seconds. Literally, it's super fast. If you guys have seen any of my videos, you will see that the auctioneer is speaking very quickly. It always reminds me, for those of you guys that grew up in the 80s, that micro machines, the little cars. There was a I think he actually had a Guinness Book of World Records for being one of the fastest speakers. And he used to do these micro machine. They're almost like little mini Hot Wheels, but they're called micro machines. And he used to do a commercial and super quick. And that's what those auctioneers always remind me of, that commercial from the 1980s. So that's the auctioneer's role. Now, ringmen are actually not on the block area. They're down below. And basically what the ringmen's role is at some locations, most of the locations that I've seen or that I've been to in Mannheim, they always have a ringman. As far as some of the other public auctions or, different auctions in other states, in other cities, ringmen assist auctioneers in identifying bids and clarifying issues in the bidding process. And they tend to get, they're the ones that are screaming, yelling, they're pointing, they're trying to encourage you, they're trying to up the price, they're trying to get more bidders on. They're a little bit aggressive. They're actually funny as well. A lot of times they make me laugh, because they're doing funny things in the auctioneers, and we're getting a kick. Us bidders, we're getting a kick out of it, and so they're actually kind of funny, but they are a little aggressive, but they're playing the role. That's exactly what the auctions have hired them to do, is to get the prices up, because at the end of the day, a happy seller is what keeps Mannheim or Odessa or Copart in business. So basically, that's the ringman's role. They're the ones that are going to try to keep the auction going. They're going to try to get more bidders involved in the auction. Okay, so that's the ringman. Now, block clerk. So what is a block clerk? So the block clerk is the persons who actually recording the winning bids. So they're the ones that are keeping track of the online bids, because remember, it's a little confusing, because you have the in-person people that are raising their badge number or throwing up their auction signs, and then they're also having to look at the online, which in this case, Mannheim has a simulcast online auctions as well. So they're getting online bids, they're getting in-person bids, and the block clerk's job is to, keep the process in order to make sure that the highest bidder either gets the sale, or they get the if sale, or if it doesn't meet the floor price of the seller, then it's no sale. So block clerk is the person who records the winning bid for each vehicle, the amount, and the dealer who purchased the vehicle, as well as other transaction details. So they're the ones that are kind of keeping, track of everything, almost kind of like an administrative assistant, but they're actually called a block clerk. All right, so here is a clip from Mannheim, and this is the auction. So let's go ahead and let the clip play through, and then we're going to go ahead and discuss each of those roles. $2,500 if you want it. What's the best shot? 16. All right, so let's go and let's break down each one. So remember, we talked about the block area. So this is the in lane right here. Here's the in lane is right here, and the block area. So remember, the block area is the elevated area where the auctioneer and the block clerk will be sitting. And in some cases, a lot of the times, the seller of the vehicle will actually stand up there as well, and they might be whispering in the auctioneer's ear, trying to either, if the bidding's not meeting their price, they might say, hey, you know what, I'm willing to take 2,500, or I'm willing to, let's say, for example, the seller had a floor price on this Toyota Prius, let's say it was $4,000, and let's say the bidding kind of stalled out at 3,400. The seller might be standing up in this area, in the block area, and they might be whispering in the auctioneer's ear to say, you know what, my floor price is 4,000, but I'm willing to take 3,600. So if you can get them up to 3,600, I'll be willing to take that price. So then that auctioneer is going to be trying to raise that price, or trying to get bidders to get up to 3,600. So block area is right here. The auctioneer is the guy with the hat. As you can see, you can kind of see he has the headset on, so he's the one that's doing the announcing, the speaking fastly. And then we have the block clerk. So the guy right next to him is the block clerk. He's one of, you can tell he's got the pen, he's taking notes, he's keeping track, he's writing the prices down. He's also just basically keeping everything in order, because the auctioneer, his main job is just to speak fastly and try to, go up by increments of either 100 or 200. And then the ringman. So the ringman is the gentleman with the green yellow vest. As you can tell, he's yelling like 4,200. He's getting other people and kind of keeping track of who's the one that's throwing in the bids, but also trying to get others to bid if they haven't. And if they're kind of standing around, mildewing around and kind of just like sitting there and not really participating, he's going to try to bait you into bidding. So let's see him in action. So he's over here yelling, yelling different things, and he's going to start pointing at people or pointing down and trying to bait you into bidding. So this is very interesting. So this is something that you can actually get confused on it and make sure that when he just tapped the car and now the Prius is leaving the auction lane, but the bidding's still not done. And so what happens sometimes is the next car pulls up and the bidding's still going on the Toyota Prius. And for those that aren't paying close attention, let's say the next car is, a piece of junk, Kia or something like that. And you think that you're bidding on the Kia, but technically they're still actually bidding on the Toyota Prius. And I've seen that happen so many times where they're bidding and they didn't know that they're still the bidding on the Toyota Prius is still going on. And they think they're bid on the new car that pulls up into the auction lane. And all of a sudden they win and they think, oh, cool, I got this new Kia for, a couple $100. But no, they actually look up and the guy was like, no, you just bought that Prius for $4,700. And they're like, 4,700? I thought I was buying this Kia for $800. And now at that point in time, you don't want to tarnish your image with Manheim. You're stuck with it. You better buy it, or they're going to make sure that you have, that you're kind of basically like burning a bridge. So very important to keep that in mind. And that's why I wanted to put this video out. See, did you see him actually pointing at people and then doing like this? He's trying to get more people bidding on it. So Ringman, this guy right there. So there it was. It was actually a GMC. It looks like a Suburban or a Tahoe. And that's where people go wrong, is that car pulls up, they're still bidding on the Toyota Prius. And then people think that they're bidding on the Chevy right there, but they're actually still technically bidding on the Toyota. And that's where you can make a big mistake. So let's go back. So remember, block area, you got the block clerks, and actually the block clerk's probably the girl that's keeping track of the online auction. He's keeping track of the in-person auction, and then we got the ringman.
2,500 if you want it. What's the best shot?
So there you go. Look at that Prius. The highest bid was $2,500. So kind of up here on the screen. So that we're basically in lane 22, and that Prius was the 72nd car that ran through lane 22. That was the highest bid or actually 2,500 is what they were trying to get. 2,400 was the highest bid. So the auctioneer was trying to get people to go up to $2,500. So there you go. So that's the breakdown of the players that are involved in the auction. Want to thank you for tuning in. Drop me a comment. Let me know what you thought about this video. Like I said, that first time that you go to bid on a vehicle, you're going to literally feel like your hand is carrying 5,000 pounds of weight, because you're going to be so nervous about making that first bid. And it's not so much that you're worried about losing money. It's because you don't know what paperwork's involved, how to pay, where to pick up your car, if there's any other paperwork that you're going to need to do at Manheim that's going to be confusing, or legalities. It's just a lot of moving parts. And hopefully this video has kind of clarified it and made a little bit more sense. So that way you're not so nervous at your first auction. So for those of you guys that are in process of getting your car dealer license or thinking about it, check out some of my other videos because I'm breaking down all the steps that I took to get my car dealer's license. Want to thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like, comment, subscribe. Greatly appreciate it.